this is Oldecam.
And this is Not a Spring Chick. And we keep on hearing about Toyota being in the news. So there's a lot of you that may have a Toyota because Toyota actually has been one of the most popular cars.
Yes.
The question is, what do you do?
Yes, the owners want answers in a Toyota recall. Actually, they're not getting any answers from anybody. They're getting, in a lot of cases, they're getting the runaround, because there's, actually we got more than one, okay, what Steve Waldenczak of Apple said it's a software problem, and they're not even addressing the software problem. They're using a Mickey Mouse thing, basically, they've known about it since 1999. Mm-hmm. There's been the latest, basically what really pushed everybody out of shape was, I think it was a highway patrolman and his family burnt to death. Oh. And they're telling everybody as the car is totally out of control what's going on. And the guy is he's an officer. He knows how to handle cars. If he couldn't get it,
is that what really pushed it over?
Let's put it this way: I wouldn't want to put my car in neutral and try to get over it because first of all, you have no control of a modern automobile when it's not in gear.
Well, actually, let me ask you something. Because remember. The OnStar?
Yep.
Can OnStar take control of your car?
Theoretically, but it can't. If the brakes are, if the accelerator's stuck, it can't unstick it except shut your car down. When your car is shut down, it locks everything. And you have no control. When you put your car into neutral, what it does, it crunches your gears all the heck. So if you take it like a $40 problem and made it a $1,000, $2,000 problem, and there's no guarantee when you do that off to the side. Okay, what happens is when you stick it in neutral, nothing functions the way it was meant to function.
Well, I guess the challenge is what they're having is what they says is if your Toyota accelerates out of control.
Yeah.
So here's our disclaimer, which is
basically I wouldn't do it.
Well, here's part of it is find out that if you have a Toyota,
I wouldn't drive it. What I would do, okay, you want to be a pissant? What I would do if I had these Toyotas, every person in this country that owns a Toyota, I'd take it and park it on the lot of the people that sold you the car and tell them fix it. Tell them, simply put it, you sold me this thing knowing that there was a problem.
Well, here's part of it is I've been in a number of car accidents, unfortunately, but if you can, take public transportation, not drive the Toyota,
yep.
It's better because believe me, it's like you don't want to be in an accident where you have the choice. It's like the car won't stop. What do I crash into, or do I crunch the gears? It's like, and then try and recover it. Don't even go there.
No, but see, even though they got the apology from the Toyota president, Toyota's been ungodly arrogant about it, saying the majority of these cars that were brought in don't have any problems and. We're only wanting the cars in that are older. No, the federal government recalled all of the cars. All, meaning you fix them all. You don't just cherry pick and say, well, this car's, we found out that this only happens in older cars. Well, here's the question. If they knew it happened in older cars, why did they wait until after an officer of the law and his family burnt to death? Very publicly on, with the officer to 911 calling that the car, his wife, and he's trying to get it under control.
They burned to death?
They burnt to death in the automobile. That was the end of it for Toyota, was when they burnt to death.
What did they run into? They hit something?
Well, he couldn't get it under control. Totally. I mean, like I said, I am really assuming that the man knows what he was doing and basically did everything he could possibly do to bring that car to a stop, including, putting it in neutral, probably even throwing it in reverse to stop it, so. I
know, because they're used to using the cars.
Well, yeah, because what you do is you in order to do a quick turn, you're basically sticking you're shifting gears, flipping it into reverse, hitting the brakes and then turning sideways so you can do it. I understand, he did everything that was humanly possible and he couldn't stop that car.
Did they run into something?
Oh yeah, they had an excessive amount of speed, ran off the road and hit something and killed everybody, burnt to death. On a 911 call, they burnt to death, folks. So, nothing.
That's pretty public.
Yeah, but it says what it says. If your Toyota accelerates out of control, brake with both feet. Step on the foot pedal with both feet using firm. Basically, what that means is I've had that happen, and when you're putting both feet down on the brake, you know, that's not a fun feeling because you're sitting there trying to stop.
And you're trying to shove it just as far as you can.
And you're trying to push it to the floor with every ounce of weight you got in your body. It said, do not pump the brake pedal because it would deplete the vacuum used for power brake assist. Well, it shouldn't. Because the vacuum should pump right back. It means that you're supposed to pump back. It means the bloody braking system probably is not functioning. I'm a wild guess that what happens is when the accelerator sticks, it throws a problem in the electronics of the automobile and doesn't let your vacuum rebuild on your brakes.
Oh.
Because you can pump the brakes, because they'll tell you in a lot of cases they'll lightly pump your brakes and bring it over to the side of the road. This time, don't pump it. Basically, put your feet on it. Okay, what happens, like for instance, you're landing on top of an aircraft carrier, you do have brakes on your airplane, and you're pulling back on the yoke and pushing your feet down on your brakes like your life depended upon it. Mm-hmm. That's the same thing with the automobile. So
the next one they have is shift to neutral.
Well, while still braking, shift to neutral to the shift transmission neutral. This one I don't
key part
understand.
was while still braking, shift to neutral.
I mean, most cars are not designed to be put into neutral. Most modern cars, neutral is...
Can you actually do that while you're driving? I know sometimes it's like you can't change.
My car, it crushes you put it into neutral, it destroys your transmission. Oh. It just grinds it to pieces. I'm not an expert at this, of course. I simply might put it into a lower gear. And slow it down with most cars have 3 gears.
You know, actually, I don't even see that on that list. That makes sense.
You put it into third gear. You know, you stick it. It's in first, but basically it's in drive, which is probably third. You put it into second to slow it down. You put it into first to slow it down. All while you're braking. Neutral is basically a gear cruncher. I mean, that's what I would do. Of course, I'm not a driver.
That actually makes a lot of sense.
Because a lot of people, truck drivers, use their gears to slow the vehicle down when they're coming downhill.
Because if you use your gears to slow it down, you're not going to screw your transmission either.
You're not going to, because what they're talking about is like a $1,000 to $2,000. You've taken a problem that, the odds of having a crash in your car, if you can put it off the roads, are not that great because most roads have sidings. But the problem is, a lot of people are going to think, they automatically are going to think, God, this is making a noise. I'm not going to do that. So they shift it back into a gear, and when they shift it back into a gear, that's when they lose control.
So. And here's one. Now, I don't know how this works, or even if you can do that, which is turn off the engine. Can you actually turn off the engine when you're driving it?
I know. If unable to put the vehicle in neutral, turn the engine off. This will not cause loss of steering or braking control, but the power assist of these vehicles will be lost. Okay, we're talking when that engine is shut off, you become like you're driving a truck. It becomes very sluggish on your steering.
I was going to say, because your power steering's off.
But they're not designed to drive without power steering. It's just like when you put the car in neutral to push it. Basically, it's like you're moving a wall, a solid brick wall. It is very sluggish. And
yeah, you know, one of the things that I noticed, well, actually we'll go through these, is I don't see a different set of instructions for a regular car versus an SUV.
Yeah, versus an SUV or manual transmission.
Yeah.
This is all automatic. They make manuals too, folks.
Yeah.
But manual is easier to stop because then you absolutely
just go into the gears.
All the gears. Okay, people that drive manuals know how to slow their cars down using the gears, because I will go around corners. You know, I will shift from drive into, actually when I did drive, I'm doing what she's seen me do it. I go around corners, shift down to another gear and all of that stuff. So.
Well, the other thing I'm also thinking of is, you know, like when you're skiing and you're snow plowing and you go left and right, like this.
Yeah.
Would that work with the cars to help slow it down?
If you got the room.
If you've got the space, but also if you have an SUV, you don't want to take sharp turns because you don't want to flip it.
No, because you got the whole problem.
That's where, you know, that's where the car, if it's an SUV and it has a higher center of gravity,
you
could have. So you know, you got to use a little common sense.
But also, I think that when you turn the engine off, it locks your transmission on most cars. You can't shift the gears once the engine is.
Does that make a difference if?
Well, I mean, basically it's the same as putting it in neutral. But, you know, anybody can turn the engine off. You know, OnStar will turn the engine off for you. You can turn the engine off. But as far as I know on a modern car, actually very simple, you want to have a test on it, see how it works. Go out to your car and turn your engine off.